Thank you. The honourable gentleman began his attempted point of order by inquiring how he could register his anger. He has, of course, now done so. It's on the record. It will be reproduced in the official report, and something tells me that his observations in the official report will shortly be winging their way towards the local media in the honourable gentleman's constituency. If there are no further points of order, oh, very well. Point of order, Patricia Gibson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The people of Scotland voted overwhelmingly to remain in the EU. And what they have...
62%.
And I seek your guidance, Mr. Speaker, because tonight, not only have they been ignored, their views have been dismissed with utter contempt. And I ask you, Mr. Speaker, what outlet the people of Scotland can have until they have... so that they can express their view about their constitutional future as being part of this moribund, and corrupt union that has been exemplified tonight.
The time when the honourable lady's constituents and more widely the electorate of Scotland might be in a position to register their views in the way she suggests could well be not long from now. No set of points of order would be complete without the product of the lucubrations of the honourable gentleman. Point of order, Mr. Martin Doherty-Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wonder if you could advise me on process for what is supposed to be the Mother of Parliament. Non-sober members opposite should maybe wished a wee bit. What I would ask, Mr. Speaker, in terms of especially those who can't hot their drink, Mr. Speaker, is if the government does not meet the obligations of a vote of the House in the next few weeks, what is open not only to members who have overwhelmingly rejected the government's position, not only in terms of a general election at this time, but more importantly of implementing the majority of members' decisions in terms of a no-deal Brexit, what is open to you as the chair of this House to assure not only myself but my constituents that a government which does not listen to the so-called sovereign parliament is therefore undermining fundamental... The honourable member should maybe wish a wee minute. I've told him once, I'll not tell him again. The fact he's not even be able to take a chair and is sitting in the flare says more about him than any other member in this House. If the government will not implement the law of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Ask Sasha about it.
What is open to you, Mr. Speaker, and the House to make sure that they do?
Well, I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman. At this stage, it's a hypothetical question because one would need to look at the specifics. But what I would say to the honourable gentleman is that if there is a dispute as to what a law means or what compliance with it looks like, that is ultimately justiciable, and therefore it is to be expected that it would be the subject of a court ruling. These are not uncommon matters, though it would be a very high-profile situation in the circumstances with which we're dealing. But it does seem to me that members should reflect upon these matters and think about their options and the attitude of their colleagues in the cool light of day. That is not necessarily best achieved by a furious focus at 12:51 in the morning. Point of order, Kirsty Blackman.
Speaker, during the course of this process, The European Statutory Instruments Sifting Committee was set up in order to sift those statutory instruments that were required in the event of a Brexit happening. In advance of the 29th of March, the government brought forward a number of these no-deal SIs in order that they said that the UK would be prepared for a no-deal Brexit. The European Statutory Instruments Sifting Committee has sifted 240 of these statutory instruments that have come forward to it as negative instruments. There have been 580 in total. I've discovered today, Mr Speaker, that the government intends to bring forward 10 of these statutory instruments as made affirmative statutory instruments in order to ensure that we are prepared for a no-deal exit. Mr Speaker, I'm a bit confused as to why the government did not bring these forward in advance of the 29th of March, if no-deal Brexit was supposed to happen on that date, or the second date that no-deal Brexit was supposed to happen, or in fact at any time before this prorogation happened, so that the EU Statutory Instruments Sifting Committee could sift them as appropriate, and so the House would have the opportunity to have its say on whether or not these were appropriate statutory instruments to go through. Is there any recourse that we can have, given that prorogation is about to happen, and these instruments will be made without the say-so of the House?
I'm not privy to the government's thoughts on these matters. It would be perfectly open for a member of the executive branch to respond to the honourable lady if he or she so wished, but I don't detect a notable enthusiasm. I'm not aware, looking at him now and his body language, that the Leader of the House is about to uncoil, and if he were to do so, doubtless he would give a response, but he's not doing so. So although it is a matter of very considerable importance to the honourable lady, it's not something in relation to which I can offer her help now. I suggest that she takes it up in view of the important position in her party she holds with the Leader of the House, whom I've always found, I must say, in every dealing, a most courteous and agreeable individual. And I'm sure that he would be more than content to discuss this matter with her, either over a cup of English breakfast tea or conceivably something stronger. Here we go. Point of order, Dr. Caroline Johnson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker.